The liver is one of the most important organs in your body, but most people never pay attention to it until something goes seriously wrong. It works hard behind the scenes every single day. It helps digest food, stores nutrients, filters toxins, and even plays a role in controlling blood sugar and cholesterol. It's like a silent engine that keeps running, quietly supporting your health. But just like any engine, if it's overloaded, ignored, or mistreated, it begins to break down. And one of the most common problems it faces today is something called fatty liver. Fatty liver happens when too much fat builds up inside the liver cells. At first, this might sound harmless, but over time, this extra fat can trigger inflammation, cause scarring, and eventually stop the liver from working properly. This condition is becoming shockingly common around the world, and what's worse is that most people don't even know they have it. That's because fatty liver often has no symptoms in the early stages. You can feel perfectly fine while your liver is quietly getting damaged. And by the time you find out, the damage may already be serious now. You might think this kind of liver problem only happens to people who drink a lot of alcohol. That's what many people used to believe. But today, a growing number of people with fatty liver have never touched alcohol or only drink occasionally. This newer condition is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it's rising rapidly in people of all ages. Doctors are now finding it even in children and teenagers. So what's causing this silent liver damage? In most cases, it all comes down to everyday habits, things people do without realizing they're hurting themselves. That's why this topic is so important. Because if fatty liver starts with habits, it can also be prevented by changing them. And today we're going to talk about 8 common habits that silently lead to fatty liver, beginning with the first few that affect millions of people every day. These habits might seem small or harmless, but over time, they add up. And by understanding them, you'll be in a much better position to protect your liver, your health, and your future. The first habit is eating too much sugar. And we're not just talking about candy or chocolate. Sugar hides in places you wouldn't expect. Cereals, flavored yogurts, ketchup, salad dressings, fruit juices, and even so-called health bars. One of the most harmful types of sugar is something called fructose, especially high fructose corn syrup, which is often added to processed foods. When you eat foods with too much sugar, your liver is the one that has to process it, but the liver can only handle so much. Extra sugar that the body doesn't need gets turned into fat. And where does a lot of that fat end up? Right in the liver. This slow buildup of fat in the liver is what eventually turns into fatty liver disease. And because so many people consume sugary foods every day, it's one of the most common causes of liver problems. The worst part is that people often think they're eating healthy. They drink fruit juices thinking they're natural and healthy, but some juices have more sugar than soda. They eat energy bars that are loaded with sweeteners. It's easy to fall into the sugar trap, and your liver quietly pays the price. Another common habit is overeating processed and fried foods. These foods are everywhere, in fast food restaurants, frozen meals, snacks, and even at home. They're quick, tasty, and convenient, but they're often full of unhealthy fats, salt, and chemicals that are hard on the liver. Foods that are deep-fried or heavily processed cause inflammation in the body and force the liver to work overtime. Over time, this leads to fat storage and liver strain. Eating these types of foods regularly makes it very hard for your liver. To stay healthy, a third harmful habit is not getting enough physical activity. In our modern world, many people spend hours sitting at a desk, in the car, or on the couch. This lack of movement has a big impact on your metabolism. When you don't move enough, your body doesn't burn calories efficiently. Fat builds up more easily, especially around the belly. And when fat builds up in the body, it often builds up in the liver too. Studies have shown that people who live in active lifestyles are at much higher risk for fatty liver disease, even if they aren't overweight. Exercise helps your liver by using up stored fat, improving insulin sensitivity, and reducing inflammation. Let's also talk about late-night eating and snacking. Many people have a habit of eating heavy meals or sugary snacks late in the evening. The problem is that at night, your body is supposed to rest and recover, not digest heavy foods. When you eat late, your liver has to stay active to process everything you've eaten. If it's overloaded with fat, sugar, or heavy proteins, it struggles to keep up. This habit also interferes with blood sugar levels, hormone balance, and your sleep quality, which further affects your metabolism. Over time, night eating can make your liver accumulate more fat than it can handle. There's also a strong connection between sleep and liver health. Poor sleep or irregular sleep patterns put stress on your entire body, including your liver. When you don't get enough rest, your body produces more cortisol, a stress hormone. This hormone encourages fat storage, especially in the belly and liver. People who sleep less than 6 hours a night or have interrupted sleep cycles are more likely to develop liver problems. And if you add other bad habits like late eating or high sugar intake, it makes things even worse. That's why good sleep is not just about feeling rested, it's about letting your liver do its job properly while you rest. Another thing that often gets ignored is dehydration. Not drinking enough water affects every organ, including your liver. Water helps flush out toxins, supports digestion, and allows the liver to function more smoothly. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, your metabolism slows, and your liver has a harder time filtering waste. Many people go through the day with barely 2 or 3 glasses of water. Instead, they drink tea, coffee, sodas, or sweetened drinks, which often makes the problem worse. Caffeine and sugar both put extra pressure on the liver. That's why keeping your body hydrated with clean water is one of the simplest ways to support liver health. One more surprising habit is taking medications or supplements without proper guidance. Some over-the-counter painkillers, weight loss pills, herbal products, and vitamins can be toxic to the liver if used too often or in the wrong amounts. The liver is responsible for breaking down drugs and chemicals in the body. When you take too many substances, especially ones the liver wasn't designed to handle, it becomes overloaded and damaged. People often think natural means safe, but some herbal products can be very harmful to the liver if taken long-term or combined with other medications. Lastly, stress plays a bigger role than most people realize. Chronic stress raises cortisol, and adrenaline levels, disrupts hormones, increases fat storage, and triggers inflammation, all of which are bad news for your liver. When you're under constant pressure, whether from work, family, or financial worries, your body starts to break down from the inside. And your liver, being a central processing center, absorbs a lot of that stress. High stress often leads to bad habits like overeating, poor sleep, drinking, or inactivity, all of which feed into the cycle of liver damage. What's really important to understand is that none of these habits by themselves may seem like a big deal. Drinking a sugary juice, skipping exercise for a few days, or having a heavy dinner might not cause instant harm. But when these habits happen over and over again, day after day, they create the perfect storm for fatty liver to develop quietly. That's why it's so important to recognize them now before symptoms appear. Before your doctor gives you bad news, before it's too late. Your liver is one of the few organs that can actually heal itself, but only if you stop the damage. In time, that's why making small changes in these everyday habits can lead to big improvements. Swapping sugary drinks for water, eating more whole foods, sleeping better, staying active, and reducing stress. These simple actions can take pressure off your liver and help it recover. And once you start supporting your liver, you'll begin to notice other improvements: more energy, better digestion, improved skin, clearer thinking, and even weight loss. Over time, this fat builds up inside the liver cells, gradually turning a healthy liver into a fatty one. But sugar isn't the only culprit. Let's now talk about something that often goes unnoticed: lack of physical activity. A sedentary lifestyle is one of the most dangerous habits, and it contributes heavily to fatty liver without you even realizing it. When you sit for long hours, whether at a desk, in front of a TV, or scrolling through your phone, your body's ability to burn fat slows down. This includes the fat stored in your liver. Without regular movement or exercise, the liver starts accumulating fat faster than it can burn. You may not feel any different at first, but deep inside, your metabolism becomes sluggish and the liver slowly becomes overloaded. Another common habit that quietly harms the liver is eating processed foods. These are the convenient packaged snacks, frozen meals, fast food items, and ready-made sauces that many people rely on for quick meals. They're often loaded with unhealthy fats, preservatives, salt, and added sugars. These ingredients not only cause inflammation in the body, but also trigger fat buildup in the liver. Over time, eating these foods regularly can lead to chronic liver stress. It's not about one burger or one pack of cookies, it's the regular use of such foods that creates the problem. Let's move to another dangerous habit: eating late at night. Many people finish dinner and then go for snacks while watching TV or scrolling on their phones. These late-night snacks are usually high in sugar, carbs, or fat, and the body doesn't burn calories the same way at night. Instead of being used for energy, the calories are stored as fat, and the liver becomes the storage unit for much of this fat. Over months and years, this late-night eating habit contributes to fatty liver without you even realizing it. The liver never gets a break to repair or detox because it's constantly working to process food, even while you sleep. And now comes something that surprises many people: overuse of certain medications. Yes, even medicines that are meant to help can sometimes harm your liver if used too frequently or without medical supervision. Painkillers like acetaminophen, also known as paracetamol, can burden the liver if taken too often or in large doses. Some over-the-counter drugs, when used carelessly, can cause liver damage. The liver is responsible for filtering everything that goes into the bloodstream, including medicines. When it gets overloaded with drugs, especially over long periods, it begins to accumulate damage that can lead to fat deposits and inflammation. Habit number 6 is often hidden under the label of stress. Chronic stress doesn't just affect the mind, deeply affects the liver too. When you're stressed for long periods, your body produces more of the hormone cortisol. High cortisol levels can lead to fat accumulation, particularly in the abdominal area and around the liver. Moreover, stress often leads to emotional eating, poor sleep, and lack of motivation to exercise, all of which create the perfect environment for fatty liver disease to grow silently, even if you're not eating badly. Unmanaged stress alone can push your liver toward trouble. Another underestimated habit is poor sleep. When people don't sleep well or don't get enough rest, their hormones get out of balance. Sleep is the time when the liver works to repair itself and process toxins. But if you're sleeping only 4 to 5 hours or waking up frequently during the night, your liver doesn't get the time it needs to recover. Over time, this affects how the liver processes fats and sugars, leading to fat buildup. Studies have shown that people with sleep problems are more likely to develop non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So a proper sleep schedule is not just good for energy, it's crucial for liver health. Finally, habit number 8 might seem harmless to many: frequent alcohol intake, even in small amounts. While we often associate fatty liver with heavy drinking, even moderate alcohol consumption can harm the liver over time, especially if the liver is already dealing with poor diet or lack of activity. Alcohol is processed directly in the liver, and when consumed regularly, it can cause fat buildup, inflammation, and scarring. Even if someone drinks only on weekends, the damage adds up. For those who already have signs of fatty liver, avoiding alcohol entirely is often the best decision. When all these habits come together, too much sugar, lack of activity, processed foods, late-night meals, overuse of medicine, chronic stress, poor sleep, and alcohol, the result is a silent storm inside the liver. And the danger is that most people don't feel any symptoms until the liver is already struggling. They may feel tired, bloated, or mentally foggy, but not connect these issues to their liver. That's why prevention is so important. Just like the habits that cause fatty liver are part of daily life, the solutions can also be built into daily routines. It starts with small changes. Being aware of how much sugar you're consuming can help reduce the burden on the liver. Reading labels and switching to natural alternatives. Instead of sitting for long hours, take short walks every couple of hours. Add some light activity like stretching, dancing, or yoga into your day. Choose fresh, home-cooked meals over processed options. Plan your dinners earlier and avoid snacking late at night. Always check with a doctor before taking any over-the-counter medication regularly. Try to manage stress through meditation, prayer, talking to loved ones, or spending time in nature. Prioritize sleep by setting a regular bedtime and creating a peaceful environment. And if you drink alcohol, consider reducing or quitting, especially if you already have signs of liver trouble. Taking care of your liver doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's about being mindful of daily choices. The liver is an incredible organ. It can regenerate and heal if given the chance. But that chance comes through awareness and consistency. In the next part of this series, we'll explore early signs of fatty liver, how to detect it before it becomes dangerous, and natural ways to reverse the damage through diet and lifestyle changes. The goal is not just to avoid fatty liver, but to protect your energy, clarity, and overall well-being. The seventh habit that silently contributes to fatty liver disease is insufficient fiber in your diet. Fiber plays a critical role in digestion and metabolic health. It helps slow the absorption of sugar, supports regular bowel movements, and feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. When you consume low-fiber foods like white bread, pastries, or fast food regularly, your liver pays the price. Without fiber, your blood sugar levels fluctuate, insulin resistance develops, and fat begins to build up in your liver over time. Whole foods like oats, apples, lentils, broccoli, and flax seeds provide your body with both soluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber helps absorb toxins and cholesterol, while insoluble fiber aids in regular bowel movements and detoxification. When your liver isn't overloaded with toxins and sugar, it can focus on its vital function of filtering your blood and metabolizing fats. But a fiber-deficient diet keeps your liver in a constant state of stress. Modern diets, especially those based on convenience and processed foods, are notoriously low in fiber. Make it a daily habit to add fiber-rich vegetables, legumes, and seeds into your meals. A good goal is about 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day. Start slowly and drink plenty of water to help your digestive system adjust. Over time, this one shift alone can reduce inflammation, ease digestion, and reduce the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now, let's talk about the eighth and final habit. This one is less obvious, yet extremely common: chronic sleep deprivation. When you don't sleep enough or have poor quality sleep, your body's hormonal balance gets thrown off. Cortisol, the stress hormone, stays elevated. Insulin sensitivity drops, your cravings for sugary and fatty foods increase. Your body cannot fully repair and detoxify during the night. And most importantly, your liver does not get the downtime it needs to process fat and regenerate. Studies show that people who sleep less than 6 hours a night have a higher risk of developing liver fat and even progressing to liver fibrosis. Sleep is not a luxury, it's a vital biological process. Deep restorative sleep activates the lymphatic system and allows the liver to clear waste products from the bloodstream. Skipping sleep regularly causes your metabolism to slow, triglycerides to rise, and liver enzymes to elevate. If you snore heavily, wake up tired, or feel foggy during the day, consider checking for sleep apnea or poor sleep hygiene. Reducing screen time before bed, maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, avoiding caffeine in the evening, and creating a calm, dark sleeping environment can dramatically improve your sleep quality. Giving your body the chance to rest deeply helps your liver do what it was designed to do: cleanse and protect your system. So now that we've explored these 8 habits, the question is, what can you start changing today? Maybe you've recognized 2 or 3 things you're currently doing that may be harming your liver. That's completely okay. The good news is, the liver is incredibly resilient. When you stop feeding it toxins, when you reduce sugar and processed foods, when you sleep better and hydrate properly, your liver starts to heal. It has the power to regenerate damaged cells and clear out accumulated fat. Even people with early stages of fatty liver disease have reversed the condition entirely, with consistent lifestyle changes. But it all starts with awareness. To help your liver function at its best, begin by choosing one habit to improve this week. Maybe you start walking daily, or you reduce your soda intake, or you add more leafy greens to your plate. Over time, small, consistent actions lead to major health transformations. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Many seniors and middle-aged adults assume that liver problems are caused only by alcohol. But that's not the full story anymore. Today, fatty liver disease caused by diet and inactivity is a growing epidemic even among people who have never touched alcohol. That's why these habits matter so much. And it's not just about avoiding liver disease. When your liver is functioning properly, your whole body benefits. You feel more energetic, your digestion improves, your skin looks clearer, and your immune system gets stronger. Fat loss becomes easier. Blood sugar stabilizes. Mental fog clears. Your body works like it's supposed to. It's like upgrading your internal engine. That's why this message isn't just about fear. It's about empowerment. You have the tools and knowledge now to take better care of your liver. And by doing so, protect your overall health. Let's briefly recap the 8 common habits contributing to fatty liver disease. Eating too much sugar, consuming refined carbs, drinking sugary beverages, living a sedentary lifestyle, overeating processed food, not drinking enough water, consuming too little fiber, and not getting enough quality sleep. Each of these habits, on its own, might seem small, but together, they create the perfect storm for fat to build up in the liver, inflammation to rise, and damage to take root. Silently, you may not feel the symptoms at first. That's why they call it a silent disease. But over time, fatigue, abdominal pain, bloating, dark urine, and yellowish eyes can appear. And if left unchecked, fatty liver can turn into fibrosis, then cirrhosis, and eventually liver failure or cancer. That's why prevention is always better than cure. Now is the best time to make changes. Your liver is one of the only organs that can heal itself if you give it the right environment. It doesn't need medication. It doesn't need magic. It just needs you to stop harming it and start supporting it. Give it rest. Feed it clean food. Hydrate it. Move your body. Manage stress. And sleep deeply. In return, your liver will protect you for years to come. There are also certain natural foods and herbs that can support liver function, like milk, thistle, turmeric, beetroot, and artichokes. However, these should be seen as supportive, not as a curanos guided by a doctor. The foundation must always be lifestyle. If you're currently taking medications or have liver-related symptoms, always speak to a healthcare provider before making major changes. But for most people, fatty liver disease begins with lifestyle, and it can end with lifestyle too. So take this as your sign. Your liver is working hard every single day, often without thanks or attention. Today, give it the support it deserves. You've now learned the habits that can silently harm your liver. But now you also know the habits that can help it heal. It's never too late to start. Every bite, every step, every night of good sleep. All a step toward better health. Take care of your liver, and it will take care of you for life.